Welcome back to What She Said. All right, it's the nighttime drive. We're gonna ride out, put together a great show. Um, I heard some things. So y'all saw the thumbnail. Kevin Stefanski. That man is a trip. He's hilariously. He's either a comedian or a little challenged in a way. We don't want to make fun of people, so we just want to say he just might not be out there. So I'm not sure you're gonna tell me, but we talking about the Cleveland Browns tonight. Why? Because I found Kevin Stefanski's press conference to be hilarious. I don't know him personally, so what I do know from him is he think he's slick and he has a way in conversation looking stoic with a poker face, but actually saying something untoward. So, masking his real intentions is what I'm saying. So let's get into this. And we're gonna talk about another comment in our section. Y'all get real y'all starting to see what's going on and y'all coming with some real takes. So we're sharing them here. We shared one yesterday. This one is about the Cleveland Browns. So that's part of the reason why we can go in depth on this conversation. So I hope y'all get ready to put your thinking caps on. You got to be a critical thinker when you come on this page. Because, y'all are having some real conversations in the comments. And it does pertain to Cleveland. So let's just get into it. First, we're going to start off with Kevin Stefanski's press conference. I think this was today. Now, y'all know in their press conference, they have, to me, the same reporters for the most part. But I think a few people are strategically planning to ask safe questions. But I thought this one was funny. It starts off talking about Sheduer, then it goes into, it's not that long. So just take a listen. Let me make sure y'all can hear it too. All right. Y'all ready? I found this funny.
Sheduer said yesterday that he feels ready to play and that he thinks he would be starting for a lot of teams in the league right now. So just wondering, how is he coming along and what are you seeing from him? Is he ready to go if he called upon him?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I hope all of our guys feel like they're ready. Mary Kay.
So, okay, Mary Kay was asking about Sheduer saying that he's ready to play. Yeah, he's doing a good job. All of our guys are ready to play. That's not the part. Listen to this, and we'll come back to that. Listen to this. We didn't expect much from him when it came to Sheduer. We know he's gonna lump him in with everybody else. He's not gonna spend no time talking about Sheduer, whether it's to give constructive criticism or positive feedback. He's just not gonna do it. He's not going to spend any time and investment on Sheduer off the field, in press conferences, or at the quarterback position. Take a listen to the rest of it.
Any merit to using Dylan some in this game in spot situations or anything like that?
Dylan Sampson.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Did you hear what she asked him? Let me just go back a little bit. Look at his face. Look at his face.
Okay.
Any merit to using Dylan some in this game in spot situations or anything like that?
Dylan Sampson.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Definitely him. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
She asked him, was he thinking about using Dylan in week 4? His comment was Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson is the third string running back. I checked the depth chart. He's the third string running back. Why the hell would she be asking him about the third string running back when they clearly have a quarterback over there they don't want to use because either he's not good or he's not ready or he's not good? This man is hilarious to me because he know what he's doing, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. What is he telling her? Tell me in the comments, what is he really saying that he don't want to say out loud? And it ain't about Dylan Sampson. Listen to it again.
Any merit to using Dylan some in this game in spot situations or anything like that?
Dylan Sampson.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You see his face? You see how he smiled a little bit? Dylan Sampson. Why the hell would she be asking him about Dylan Sampson? This man is a trip. And that's why they laughed.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I think every week we make decisions based on roster and packages and those type of things.
Now, remember, Kevin Stefanski already said that he's not changing the quarterback. I don't even know if he can change the quarterback, if we're being honest. But what was his response, right? His response speaks to the theory. This is what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to put it on the screen so y'all can read it a couple times and get ready to have this real conversation. When she asked, is there any merit to you playing Dylan? They getting ready to play the Lions. They are an 8 to 10 point underdog. So she asked the valid question, any merit to you playing Dylan? And his response is, Dylan Sampson? Dylan Sampson is the third string quarterback. Not the second and not the first. Quinshon Judkins is the first. The second string quarterback is not Dylan Sampson. I had it up here. But I checked. He's the third string quarterback. Nobody's asking about the third string quarterback. I think Jerome Ford is somewhere around there, might be second. But Dylan Sampson is verified as the third string quarterback on the roster. So what he really was saying is, Dylan who? He's not playing Dylan. That's what he's telling you. That's why he came out and said he's not changing the quarterback position. So here's the real question. And I asked the question on X. Is Dylan Sampson, Dylan Gabriel playing this week? Why not Dylan? It's week 4. All I'm hearing earlier today is how Jackson Dart is starting. Why is Dylan Gabriel not starting? I know why Dylan Sampson is not starting. Because Quinshon Judkins came in. And it's somebody in front of Dylan Sampson. There are 2 people in front of Dylan Sampson. So he know good damn well she was not asking him. That's Mary Cabot. He know Mary Cabot is not asking about Dylan Sampson. So let's get into this theory. This is the conversation for tonight. Kane Bishop. Kane said, and Kane is typically in the chat and the comments. Shout out to Kane. He said, I have a theory about the coaching situation in Cleveland. I honestly believe that Dylan Gabriel must not be ready or consistently making mistakes in practice, which is why they are reluctant to trust him, to turn to him. It said, I know Sheduer is ready, but they are not going to jump to Sheduer. Right. We talked about that, right? Sheduer got to be the only player in the NFL that being a 5th round pick means you got to stay right there. That even if you are better than the 3rd round pick, you can't move up. Because I told y'all, Terrell Pryor was benched for an undrafted free agent when he was in Vegas. Not Vegas, but with the Raiders. It said, Sheduer should have never been in competition in quotes, should have never been in competition with those lesser QBs, just a theory. No, he shouldn't have. And he won. So when they put him in a competition that he should have never been in because he's a 1st round pick and they know he's talented because they got him at a deep discount. That's what we talked about yesterday. So see, we going from a deep discount in the draft that you acknowledge that you got him for cheaper than he was, which means he was highly valued. And when you got him in the 5th round, it doesn't make sense to devalue him strictly because he was in the 5th round. What that tells you is when it came to Sheduer in this draft, that the 5th round was weaponized to intentionally hold him back and not be an investment, but to be an afterthought or break glass in case of emergency. QB3. And I said it before, Dylan is there only to stop Sheduer. What does Stefanski's press conference prove? He don't trust Dylan. And it proves that Dylan is exactly what he was in the Heisman race, to block Sheduer. No disrespect to Dylan Gabriel at all, but that's how they used him in college. And that's how they're using him in the NFL, solely to block Sheduer. You think it's a coincidence they use Dylan to block Sheduer off the Heisman stage? You think it's a coincidence they use Dylan to block Sheduer from QB2? No. Just like it was not a coincidence that they used Kenny Pickett to suck up all the reps and then move on to another team. Just like it was not a coincidence that Jerry Jeudy was forced to share a locker with Joe Flacco. In fact, I think the message to Jerry Jeudy is just to continue to be patient. What is he being patient for? If they just gonna keep running with Flacco, who ain't throwing the ball to Jerry Jeudy, what the hell was Jerry Jeudy sharing a locker for with Flacco? I'll tell you why. So he doesn't get cozy with Sheduer Sanders, whom he already knew before Sheduer came to Cleveland. Because remember, I showed you the video when Jerry Jeudy was with Denver. The Denver Broncos, including Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy, went up to Colorado to practice. And they were out there on the field with Travis Hunter Sheduer Sanders, LaJohntay Wester, Jimmy Horn Jr., Will Shepherd, and Omarion. Jerry Jeudy knows exactly who Sheduer is. And now that Jerry Jeudy is being told to be patient because Flacco ain't throwing him the ball, even though he was forced to share a locker with Flacco, that was a control and intimidation tactic, Jim Crow, to use to make Jerry Jeudy stay away from Sheduer, or else Tony Brown. Tell me I'm lying. Why isn't Flacco bombing it to Jerry Jeudy? Because it was never about that. It was to control the locker room. It was to control Jeudy and make sure he don't cozy up to Sheduer or give a damn about him based on what's going on. Because he already knew him. So that's how you severed a relationship or made sure one don't get started in the pros. You see? See, everything that you see is not exactly as it appears. I'm sure Jerry Jeudy, forced to share a locker with Flacco, made Jerry Jeudy think he was going to be ace number one to get the ball. From who? They obviously don't want to put Dylan in. And Kane Bishop's theory is spot on. Either he's not ready, they don't trust him, he's making mistakes, or he's being used as the purposes intended, only to block, never to start. We got you out of the third round. You're not our starter. You just a wedge. So just like Jerry Jeudy got played and controlled and intimidated, so is Dylan Gabriel. And he fell for it with his likes and clicks, masquerading comment. They're going to roll with Flacco as long as they can roll with Flacco to get through the tough part of the season. And if the defense is strong enough to stay on the field and get worn out, well, that's what they're going to do. The defense is going to be the heroes this season. Hence, Myles Garrett fat contract. That was hint number one. People just didn't know how it was going to play out. That don't mean we paying you to win. We paying you to work out there on that field for as long as we need you to. Because why? The offense is just not going to be anything that can contribute. So they're using the defense like a workhorse on the field. Hint, hint. So that's why Myles Garrett got paid. It's not that we value you. We need you. That's what it is. So let's get back to this theory. I want to hear what y'all are saying. I'm going to read it again. Kane Bishop is spot on. I have a theory about the coaching situation in Cleveland. And they're not there to coach a football team. They're there to control the numbers of black bodies that make it on the team, that get released from the team, that get devalued by the team. He says, I honestly believe that Dylan Gabriel must not be ready. Facts. When was he ever going to be ready for this fight? When was Dylan Gabriel ever going to be ready to be an NFL quarterback? His height has not changed. We saw that was a problem, and they knew it was a problem before they drafted him. So really, they just did Oregon's coach a solid. Now they got Dante Moore over there, right? We can get you to the NFL. Isn't that their quarterback name? Let's see how he get treated. We know Dylan went to the Manning Passing Academy. But did that help his game? No. Philadelphia had to back off playing they ones to get ready for the season to accommodate the Cleveland Browns. I wonder what the Packers had to do to accommodate playing the Browns. I wonder what the Lions going to do. Now, you just watch the Lions play Baltimore. Let's see if that same team comes out and plays the Browns. I told y'all the NFL has a vested interest in making sure Cleveland does not look like exactly what it is, a circus. So let me get over here to see what y'all are saying about Kane Bishop's theory that has legs. And not only does it have legs, it's walking. All right. Caught on camera. It say, yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Max say, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome back, family. What's up? What's up? Caught on camera. How y'all doing? Hello, it's me. I was going to start singing that song in my intro, but I can't sing. So how y'all doing? How y'all doing? It said, I can't wait until 10:15 tomorrow night. And what does that mean? Don't forget, if you're going to knock off from us early today, don't forget, tomorrow, 10 p.m., What She Said Sports Lounge is live. The notifications already went out. If you didn't get one, just come to the page at 10 o'clock and hit the live button. And y'all can join us. And scrolling across the bottom of the screen, y'all are getting ready to see the games of the college football games of the week that I have put together, because I don't have time to talk about every single thing. So I'm just letting it scroll across the week, the games that I'm keeping an eye on. One team that's not on here, because I feel like they're going to win this game, is Delaware State versus Incarnate Word or some school like that. Both have a 3-1 record. I probably start paying attention more to Delaware State, who is exceeding expectations, doing a good job. As they get further into their conference play. So if you watching any of these games going down below, let me know. All right. So, hey, Gracie, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, everybody. Hey, Peter, welcome back. Freeman Harris, welcome back. Welcome back. It's Tina's birthday, y'all. It's Tina's birthday, y'all. Max said he's not a coach, right? Marlon said, bro, it's crazy. Yeah, who does it? And when you look at his face, I don't care if you slow it down. When you look at his face, you can see this man. I'm like, oh, okay, so he a comedian. He's actually telling you, we ain't letting him play. That's basically what he's saying. Dylan Sampson, he know he can't say Dylan who. So he said, Dylan Sampson, and you can see his mouth movement. You can see him try to control the smile. Then you can see him try to look slightly confused, but not immediately after. He know what he doing. They not playing him. That's what he telling you. We didn't get him for that. We didn't get him for that. We got him to block Sheduer. That's it. That should tell you something. What should that tell you? They were always going to get Sheduer. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. See how the more people talk, they telling on themselves. You got Dylan as a backup. And you claim you didn't know you was going to get Sheduer, but you pre-draft with Sheduer. You pre-drafted him at $46 million. And you drafted him for $4 million over 4 years. So $900,000 this year. Right? And you got him behind Dylan. So you pre-draft with Sheduer 7/8 of the process. And then you switch over to Dylan. Then Sheduer is locked out of the first round. And then he begins to fall. And then there's a tweet from the executive branch. Then there's a phone call, according to Haslam. Then you get Sheduer for $4 million. A steep discount words used by Andrew Berry. So you didn't want to pay him $46 million. So maybe all of this is really just a ruse to when you get to week 7 to put him out there so he can elevate your brand for $975,000 instead of the $12 million he was expected to get, plus probably a $30 million signing bonus. Because his signing bonus, as the 5th round pick 144, was only like $145,000. That's not a steep discount. That's highway robbery. So pay attention. Remember what Coach Prime said? I got a prediction. I think I know when he gonna play. To Sheduer's message in the interview with ESPN when he was asked about being ready to play or not playing, and he said he was ready to play. Coach Prime said, don't rush it. It might not be ready yet. It might not be the right time. Somebody said he sure seemed confident. I'm like, he sure does. See, Sheduer didn't want to go to Philly. He didn't want to go to Baltimore, where there are 2 black quarterbacks who are the franchise, right? But he was okay with going to Cleveland because why? He knew that they wasn't bringing Deshaun back. Why? Because they pre-drafted him as the number 2 pick for 7/8 of the process. Then they pivoted to Dylan, who they don't think can do nothing for them. Then they got Sheduer after a tweet or phone call that had the word picked in quotes, which I thought was like, okay, what are we doing here? Right? So I devalue you. Somebody from the executive branch comes out and says what the hell are y'all doing? Then I jump to 2 picks. I trade 2 picks in the same draft to get you. Barry said, we didn't think he would still be there because he thought he was going to Baltimore. But obviously he has a choice in the matter. He thought he was going to Philly, which was after Cleveland, which where Andrew Barry's twin brother works. But he ended up in Cleveland after 2 picks were traded. Why? Oh, hell no. Y'all pre-draft with me for 90% of this process. And then y'all let me fall? I'm coming over there. Y'all don't have a franchise quarterback because I knew you was going to be me. So I'm coming over there to Cleveland. And I'm going to beat out whoever you have. And I got 4 million fans and followers that's coming with me. And we're going to see how that goes. And you see how it's going. So Kane Bishop's theory is spot on. It has legs, it's walking. But what it proves is that they're not serious about Dylan at all. And they just using him to block somebody that they said they never wanted. However, you was going to pay him $46 million through 90% of the draft process. You should be forced by a court of law to pay him $46 million times 3, 4, or 5 because of the devaluation you have hung around his neck like a noose. Now you see what happens when people talk? The truth comes out. They showing you by not benching Flacco when Russell Wilson is benched over here. We're not serious about Dylan. We just needed him to block Sheduer. That's why they pivoted to Dylan privately and secretly. Because people will be like, how the hell you go from Sheduer to Dylan? And now you won't play Dylan. Dylan is not black. He don't count as part of 17 to 32. So that's not it. Now the question should be asked, if they finally talk about it, because they don't really talk about it. The question should be asked, well, if you got Sheduer at a steep discount, like it was said yesterday, you knew he was valuable. Andrew Barry said he was going to outproduce his draft stock. So you know he's worth more than the 5th round QB and the 3rd round QB that he is. And if you know he going to outproduce his draft stock, when is he going to get the opportunity to do that? Is that where Coach Prime coming at? When I know he going to play, I have a feeling. We know he going to outproduce his draft stock. When he going to get the chance to do that? They don't want to play Dylan. Dylan should be starting in this Lions game. You see what's happening? The more people talk. See, they think they being slick. Dylan who? Because that's really what it is. Dylan Sampson. Nobody's asking about the 3rd string running back. Nobody. But they are talking about the 3rd string quarterback. And we know he wasn't confused. He told you before, I'm not changing quarterbacks. And he know why. If he put Dylan in there and Dylan bomb, how long you think it's going to be after the game that people start demanding that Sheduer get put in? Now remember, we already got a plan, right? Sheduer hit that field. We're going to see how many times he gets sacked. FYI, Kyler Murray got sacked 6 times last night. 6. Lamar Jackson was 7. 17 to 32. So let me see. Let's move on to the next comment. It's always Mary Kay. Yeah, that's how they control the narrative in the comments. They know what to ask and what not to ask. Freeman say he ready. or he's saying he ready for the show. I don't know. It said when he praised Sheduer, he looks out right. He's definitely not trying to give Sheduer any compliments, which tells you he himself has a personal grudge against Sheduer. I wonder why. Don't forget, his boss was Pat Schumer. Don't forget. Do not forget. It said they work together. Yup. It said he never gives eye contact when talking about Sheduer. He looks off. There you go. There you go. Tina also just said it. Happy birthday to Tina, by the way. It said they are a clown show. Yup. It said I am part of the NFL collusion. How are you part of it, Brian? Let us know. One of the most nonverbal habits of a liar. That's it. That's it. One of the most nonverbal habits of somebody that's lying is to look out. There you go. There you go. It said, dude is a master manipulator. That's it. That's it. It said he has no confidence in Dylan. Right. So what that tells me is he didn't work out as planned, but let me get to the point where I can see that you were never serious about him. I'm going to tell you what you did. I'm going to tell you, based on what I see right now, you had no real intentions of putting Dylan out there. And remember, Sheduer was QB1 for the Cleveland Browns through 90% of the process as late as April 4th. 2 weeks before the draft. That's the other 10%. You quietly pivot to Dylan and nobody knows. After CU Pro Day, 6 days later on the 10th, on or about, what happened? You signed Flacco. So what does that tell you? That tell you I'm coming through the door with Sheduer. I'm going to change my mind. Let's go with Dylan. Go ahead and get me Flacco. That they already knew right then and there they were not going with Dylan. That's why they got Flacco off his couch with $13 million in incentives. So he going to be out there. Because they didn't get him off his couch for $4 million. And it probably didn't say, you got to win all these games. Those $13 million in incentives from 4 to 13 million, it's just as crazy as 1 million to 600 million. That's insane. So Flacco going to be out there because that's the deal they made. That's the deal they made. So Jerry Jeudy got played and going to get played. Telling him to be patient for what? Flacco ain't going nowhere. That man did not get off his couch for $4 million. He got off his couch for $13 million in incentives. And the defense going to get it. They're going to get them incentives up there. How did they win versus the Packers in the last minute versus the defense? They get out here and beat the Lions because, understand, some of these teams got a game they could lose. It's not like everything is on the up and up. The draft told you it wasn't on the up and up. And when you show people what you're capable of, they're going to go looking for more. They showed us in the draft they are capable of cheating these players. So why not lose a game? Brian Flores, active lawsuit going through the courts. He was incentivized to lose. Then I hear Hugh Jackson said the same thing. So why, if the coaches are incentivized to lose, why is it not permissible to think that the Packers game, that they eased up, allowed the Browns to win because the Browns couldn't go 0-3 with Flacco because everybody will be screaming for Dylan? You mean Dylan Sampson? You see how that works? Dylan who? Dylan Sampson? Ain't nobody talking about Dylan Sampson. No disrespect to Dylan Sampson, but he the third string running back. When they got Quinshon Judkins first, and his performance is not in question. The quarterback's performance is in question. So context, Kevin Stefanski, and he know. Kevin Stefanski has shown you he is capable of dodging the question or being evasive. And that's exactly what he was being when he said Dylan Sampson. He knew exactly who the hell Mary Cabot, who been there 31 years asking the questions, who she was talking about. It's telling you a lot. If they went and got Flacco after they pivoted to Dylan, then they always knew it was going to be Flacco. But why ain't he throwing the ball to Jerry Jeudy? Because it's Flacco. What is he, 41, 42? In football years, he's 80. In football playing QB years, he's 80. Everybody ain't Tom Brady. And based on the diet that he and his family talked about, they had a lot of people don't eat like that. And they're not going to be Tom Brady. So, Dylan who? That's basically what he said. If I'm Dylan, I'm like, hold on now. Wait a minute. See, Dylan got to be a person that's just like Acho, happy to be out there. Dylan has to have Emmanuel Acho's mentality. We're going to talk about it. I like Acho. He fam, but he too happy to be a backup. He too happy to just be in the room. Whereas he sits across from Shady, who's a baller, right? Who knows his worth. And I'm not saying, I like Acho. To, you know what I'm saying? I don't typically agree with him. He even said it. People say I'm a hater. We got a clip we're going to look at from them as well. And yes, fam, you are a hater for the ratings. We get it. We get it. But you know, you need to chill out with that. Integrity matters. Integrity matters. It said, no, he's rude. He's deflected. Right. Now, yeah, he's rude. That's what he does. That's what he does. It said, bro, is shady. It said, let him play Dylan. Screw it. Right. That's what I said. Put Dylan out there. Dylan should be playing. If Russell Wilson is benched, you going to tell me Flacco shouldn't be benched? That's what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me Flacco shouldn't be benched, but Russell Wilson should be benched. Come on now. And then the way Stefanski answers the question tell you, I told you, I'm not playing him. I pivoted away from Sheduer to get Dylan. Then I went and get Flacco. This was after I already got Pickett. They got Pickett first. Pickett's trade was to just get DTR off their roster so they could make room for Sheduer. That's all it was. He was never staying in Cleveland. He just being passed around to block, take up space. That's all it is. It said Dollar General is hot. Yeah, hot trash. Yeah, they know he's not better than Sheduer. How many times did Sheduer beat out Dylan? Once in the rookie camp, once again in mandatory camp, and once again before the first preseason game. And Sheduer still didn't get an opportunity. Flacco is trash. They won't even put Dylan in because they know. But see, this is now a bigger problem, right? This is a bigger problem. To me, it's exposing your real intentions when pre-drafting with Sheduer. You don't just pivot from Sheduer all the way down to Dylan. You don't pivot from the number 2 quarterback to the 3rd round quarterback. No. If you were serious about getting Sheduer at QB1, you would have got somebody else in the 1st round. Why you didn't just get Jackson Dart? Because he wasn't coming there. And the only way you're going to get Manning is if you go by the Manning rules. So what it's exposing is fraud, ladies and gentlemen. Why did Sheduer make a comment? I mean, honestly, a reporter put a microphone in his hand and asked him a question. So he answered it. They came inside the Cleveland Browns locker room, which I didn't think anybody could go in there because they typically, they don't like the players recorded in the locker room, but they let the reporters come in the locker room with cameras and audio equipment. So double standard, right? Dylan Gabriel was rated at a 4th to 7th round pick prior to the draft, right? So what it's starting to look like, and we gonna get to it. We gonna get to that smoking gun. See, Stefanski think he's slick. That's why I said he's a trip. He is a trip. He think he a comedian. He one of them sarcastic people, right? Who always got something slick to say. And then on the other hand, over here, he evasive. So he's slick and he evasive. But see, you're gonna get caught, and you already getting caught. Why? Because basically you said Dylan who? I'm going to remind you, Dylan is a guy you pivoted to who was a 4th or 7th round pick projection after you pivoted away from the number 1 or number 2 pick overall. And it's not lost on me that after the draft, the executive branch got the opportunity, somebody from there, to announce the 2027 draft when we don't know where the hell the 2026 NFL draft is. And the 2027 draft is in Washington. Quid pro quo? Quid pro quo? Is that what that is? So was the favor to come in with the tweet, or was the favor to calm the executive branch after the way Sheduer was treated? I mean, the word picked in quotes makes you wonder. So it seems to me that pre-draft with Sheduer was to make him come to Green Bay and humiliate him, just like they did Lamar Jackson. And here's why I say that. Do you ever hear them talk about, well, yeah, Sheduer was going to be the number 2 pick? No. What do you hear them say? He's not that good. So how could he be the number 2 pick overall if he's not that good? Because he's drafted in the 5th round. We already know you can weaponize the rounds in the draft, pigeonhole somebody there, and use that to basically cut them in 2 years. Waste their time so they don't go somewhere else to start their own league. We know that. That's what they did to DTR. And in 2 years, he's gone. But they let him play against Baltimore the first time they played Baltimore, but they won't let Sheduer play. You know why? DTR was a true 5th round pick. Sheduer is not. And since we got him at a deep discount, we know that. So the same rules that we use with DTR to devalue him, have an excuse to bench him the following year, trade him to Philly, get Pickett. How long you think they've been working on that? How long you think they knew they was going to trade DTR for Pickett and then use him to block the reps from Sheduer? How long you think they knew that? Because they knew it. Kane sucked up the reps and left. Dylan there to block and gonna leave too. Unless it's somebody else they're gonna draft next year in the first spot because they got the #1 pick. Let's see who that's gonna be because it don't sound like it's Lenora Sellers no more. I'm hearing Thomas Castellanos or Dante Moore. Let's hear. Or the guy from Arkansas. Dylan Gabriel is solid. He up next. Okay, CJ, why isn't your guy playing right now? I mean, honestly, he should be starting versus the Lions. If Russell Wilson could be benched, so can Flacco. The only reason they don't want to bench Flacco is because Sheduer right there. He breathing down QB1 neck because Dylan is clearly not a factor after this press conference. Thank you, Pro Cuts. It said Cleveland running backs 1, Quishon Junkins, Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, and Raheem. Thank you, Freeman, for putting that out there. And here's the thing, right? He know damn well she wasn't asking about the 3rd string running back. He know that. That's how you know this man think he's slick. He thinks his evasion about Sheduer is, and I think people know he's being evasive about Sheduer. He don't care. He think he's slick. Just keep people who think they slick that got to answer questions. I always say something that they shouldn't be saying. And to me, he said Dylan who? That's what he said, which makes me go to, Sheduer better than Dylan because they're not holding Dylan back. Seemingly they are. They're holding Sheduer back behind Dylan. 22 said the reason Stefanski will not play Dylan is because he protected him because Dylan is not an NFL quarterback. And if he played Dylan, then everyone will still know it's collusion against Sheduer. There we go. And again, it raises the question, how did you pre-draft with Sheduer 90% of the process, 7/8 of the process, 3/4 of the process, and pivot to Dylan, who you refuse to play? You refuse to play. You are a 8 to 10 point underdog. And you know exactly how many games you're willing to let go. And you know what teams gonna help you get over the crowd noise. I asked him on one of my recent videos, I said, what does it do for Cleveland to suddenly put Sheduer out there? Whether it's week 6, week 4, week 5, what does this suddenly do? You see how hesitant, reluctant, resistant Dylan who? You see that, right? So what would make me pivot to Sheduer in the next 2 weeks or 3? Because they have a bye week coming up somewhere along the line. Nothing. So if it happens, it's pressure. So when I ask the question, what does it do for Cleveland to play Sheduer? It quells the noise. The same thing it did for them to beat the Packers at the end of the game. They obviously weren't going to beat them, but all of a sudden, so did the Packers let up? Because we saw what the defense did all game long. So what was the difference maker at the end? Did a phone call come through? Was there some DMs behind the scenes? Because that's the only thing that seems to get things done. Hey, we're going to need to win this game. You're going to have to let us win this game. You could afford to lose one because y'all going to the Super Bowl. I don't see how they going to the Super Bowl playing like that. And that's the difference maker, the way they played. Jordan Love got sacked 5 times. Kyler Murray 6. Lamar Jackson 7. 17-32. That's why they don't want Sheduer to get out there. But it don't matter now. It don't matter because Russell's bench. Jaden Daniels is hurt. Mariota apparently still playing when they go to play the Falcons. So they could put him out there. Dylan who? Let's see what happens. It quells the noise of the pressure. Don Simber said, hey, Queen, you're so right. I don't like the Browns organization, period. Yeah, a lot of people. It said, Dylan Gabriel is solid. I can't wait for him to hit the field. He should come out. He should come out. It said, Dylan Gabriel is decent, but he ain't Sheduer at all. Then they should start him then. If he's decent, I mean, Dylan Gabriel got to be better than Flacco, right? I went from Sheduer at the number 2 pick overall in the first round to Dylan in the 3rd round to Flacco off his couch. I refuse. I am reluctant. I am resistant. I am hesitant to put Dylan in. So why you drafting? Why you drafting? That's a good question. Why you drafting? See, they gonna have to try and finagle some of these games. Because if they just, as it gets tougher, keep losing or keep winning suspiciously, there will be questions. See, nobody asked me any questions about the Packers because that's one game. But if the rest of the games go the same way, hopeless and hapless, either defense can't make nothing happen, and it happens at the last minute, there will be questions. There will be questions. It said, don't act like Dylan Gabriel is over Sanders. It said, we're not doing that. Don't act like, yeah, no, we don't believe that. It said 6 years and 3 universities later, Lil Dylan isn't ready. Right. So what we saw in practice is the reality that still exists in Cleveland. That Sheduer is better than Dylan. What did Dylan have? 119 reps by the time they were in Philly? 119 reps and was still worse off than Sheduer. Sheduer did more with less. And that still didn't help Sheduer's case, did it? That should tell you it don't matter what he do. It's going to have to be the pressure. And it should also tell you that there's a few teams going to let Cleveland get by. Let's see who next. You saw how the Lions played versus the Ravens. You need to look for that same intensity, that same flawless playing. You need to look for that. Because if you don't see it, there's some questions. And why is it Green Bay had to be one of the teams? Well, maybe we should ask Jordan Love. Is he the quarterback? He might not even know. It said they both talented. It's only week 4. They'll both get playing time with the Browns. CJ, this is not just about getting playing time. This is why has Flacco not been benched? If Russell Wilson can be benched, why the hell has Flacco not been benched? And why is it Dylan is not starting in week 1 with the underperforming quarterback, Joe Flacco, at the moment? And we don't want to hear nothing about his legacy because I do think Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl quarterback. So why is it Russell Wilson can be benched, but Joe Flacco has not been benched? And according to this press conference, Kevin Stefanski has absolutely no interest in going to Dylan Gabriel. So look for another team to file who should basically be defeating the Browns. Look for that. Because they obviously think they're going to have it conquered some kind of way. It said, CJ, you don't believe the lie you're telling. Now, he don't. I think he just wants to be the voice of dissent in our comments. And we welcome him, but he going to get debated. So it said, you can't name me one Dylan Gabriel moment in college. I don't know. But CJ, since you a Dylan Gabriel rider, what is one moment? What is the biggest game that Dylan balled out in? Was it Ohio State versus Oregon? Let me know. Salute. How you doing? How you doing, mister? How you doing? It said, CJ, what week do you think Dylan will play? That's a good question, Tina. That's a good question. Hey, LaDown, welcome back. It said, Mary Cabot recently stated that after this week, if Flacco doesn't look good, Dylan and Sheduer will share playing time. You're going to have to send me the link to that because I'm going to need to see it and I'm going to save it. So here's the question, LaDown. If she already said that if Flacco doesn't look good, I don't know what we waiting on. Like, how many games? Oh, we waiting on the number of games he could play. They said their schedule switches around week 7. So that means that Flacco is going to play through week 5 or 6. Okay, all right. Dylan who? Getting close. It said the $40 million slave plantation. Yup. That's what it is. Marlon Cosby. 17 to 32. Black starting QBs. That's it. Because Because I'm like, you're not gonna tell me you can go over here and bench Russell Wilson, but you can't bench Flacco. It tells you the Browns don't care about this season. They care about the noise. They care about the pressure. Defeating Green Bay quelled the pressure. If they slide some more, putting Dylan in will quell the pressure. I told you, they just trying to get to the end of the season. We know Sheduer gonna outproduce his draft stock. When? When is he gonna do that? Because according to y'all, he ain't good. So when is Sheduer going to outproduce his draft stock? If you drafted him for draft capital, when? Is it at the same time that Coach Prime think that he gonna play? Because Coach Prime know the game better than we do, right? So we got to give him props for that. For the people that said he seemed pretty confident, he know the inner workings of the NFL. So we got to give him props for that. But I still ask the question. If you know Sheduer is going to outproduce his draft stock, if you know you got him at a deep discount, why are you over there saying he ain't good? Because I need him to be behind Dylan. 17-32. As a member of the Shorty Club, I do feel weird calling Dylan Gabriel short. That's hilarious. Brian, why are you making that face? If Cleveland lose the next 2 games, Dylan gonna play for game 5 or 6. All right, y'all. CJ basically saying the next 2 games. Do I have that schedule up? I think I have this schedule up. Yeah, hold on 1 second. All right. They play the Lions on Sunday. The Vikings next with Carson Wentz at the helm. Should be Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold. Another conversation. And then the Steelers, who are overplaying the Vikings in Dublin, Ireland on Sunday. All right. So what you're saying is if they go 0-3 or 0-2 over the Lions and the Vikings, you believe that the Browns will put in Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I think they're going to put Dylan Gabriel in versus the Dolphins on the 19th. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 games from now. That's when the schedule gets easier. Okay, so this is week 4 versus the Lions. Then it's 5, 6. That's the break in the schedule. Dylan Sampson, I know what I'm saying. Dylan who will likely get to play versus the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets. All of these teams are at the bottom. The Ravens, unfortunately, are at the bottom. They have the same 1-2 record as the Browns. And then to the Raiders. I don't know how they're doing. Then it goes to the 49ers and Titans. That's going to be a little tougher, I do believe. All right. So I say Dylan going to get in based on they had Sheduer 90% of the pre-draft process, pivoted quietly and secretly to Dylan, who I say is nothing but a wedge or a blocker. They don't care about people saying they're losing because they just won versus the Packers. So based on what I see, they're going to let Flacco go through the Steelers game, which is 1, 2, 3 more games. And then they're going to pivot and seemingly give into the pressure for Dylan to start versus Tua. That's the game. That's what I think. That's what I think. Now, a lot of people want it to be Sheduer, so it could be an audition for Sheduer. If Sheduer get in at any time of that point of that game, consider that an audition. Just consider it. All right. There's already pressure on the Dolphins to get Sheduer anyway. So we're going to see how much they can withstand the pressure. We see Cleveland just ignoring people, right? New York, I would say they bowed to the pressure, but I always knew that New York was going to start Jackson Dart just a little later. So I think, they just doing, it's not pressure. I think this was always the plan. They just scooted it up. They only paying Russell Wilson for 1 year. They don't value him. So let me know if y'all agree with CJ. If Cleveland lose the next 2 games, Dylan gonna play 5 or 6. I say definitely against the Dolphins. It's that Dylan Gabriel height and his speed is challenged. It said that supercomputer can only get you so far. Right. And if he has such a supercomputer, why didn't y'all put him in versus the Lions? That's a tougher opponent. I mean, honestly, they should have won against Green Bay. Do not forget, we just watched the Ravens play the Lions, right? So I expect to see the Lions get out there, and I want to hear about Amon St. Rob or whatever Brown. I want to hear about him as much as I heard about him. With I don't want to hear he out. I don't want to hear Montgomery or whoever these people are for that balled out against the Ravens. I don't want to hear that they suddenly all injured, can't play or whatever. I want to see a straight up game. That's what I want to see. I want to see a head-to-head matchup genuinely. Let's see what happens. Defense saved Flacco last week. Right. They're going to have to save him for the next 3 weeks. It said, does the NFL allow step stools in the pocket? No. No. And you know they want him to stay in the pocket, Brian. Hey, everybody. Hey, Claire. How you doing? Happy birthday, Tina. If you're just not joining us, it's Tina's birthday. Dylan versus Tua going to be good. Yep. If he get in there. I mean, he should. He should be playing now. But based on what I see, it's gonna be Miami. So we gonna see. We gonna see. I'm still not watching the games. I don't even watch the highlights. I just read stats. Then I go look at the highlights. I'm not giving them no love at all, but I don't think I'm mad at one person. It's that Virginia just beat Florida State. Oh, okay. Where Thomas Castellanos is? Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for that. Happy birthday, Tina. A lot of love for Tina in the chat. It's her birthday. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. 178 of us. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Thank you. Faye chat, how you doing? How you doing? Tina said, thanks, everyone. It said he going to get more than 46 million before it's over. Oh, I totally believe that, Nicole. I totally believe it. I was like, let me see. Deshaun Watson asked for a trade. It ended up with $230 million. Let's see. I give Sheduer about $500 million and maybe some equity in one of these teams around here because you see what's happening, right? And understand this. What happened to Sheduer happened in the draft, right? But then it's still happening in Cleveland along with the other 16 quarterbacks. That's class action talk. So we're going to see what happens. It said the more you hide yourself, the more you expose yourself. Right. And it's funny because Stefanski thinks he doing a solid by not answering any questions about Sheduer. And he think he funny and slick by basically saying Dylan who. Well, we can read through that. And he don't care. So he telling on himself at the same time. So is Barry. It said tomorrow's Georgia game is with Alabama. Oh, okay. I thought they were playing Florida. All right. Thank you for that. Oh, I know why I thought that. I'm so anxious to watch Cormani play. I think I just scooted that game up. Okay, thank you for that. It's Georgia versus Alabama tomorrow. I don't really care about that game. It's the Georgia-Florida game that I want to watch. Okay. Thank you for that, Gracie. It said theft by deception. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's fraud. I'm telling you, any one communique or witness or whatever around there that proves that they were luring Sheduer in for whatever reason with no real intentions to draft him, because you can't tell me you're going to go from Sheduer to Dylan and you're going to get Flacco and you didn't know you was going to get Sheduer. And you working hard to keep Sheduer behind Dylan and you refuse to put Dylan in. So here's what that says. Let's say you was on the up and up with Sheduer. You always knew Dylan was going to be a backup. Why it is you won't put Dylan in over Flacco? Oh, because we got Sheduer. That's why. This is all about holding Sheduer back. It said people eyes have a way of catching up with them. It said, but they're going to regret it eventually, and they fear nothing right now. Florida State lost to Virginia 38-46. Wow. Okay. It said they will play Joe as long as possible and play Dylan at the end so they don't play Sheduer. That's possible too, because if they put Dylan in versus Miami, I don't know. Miami is just not good. And I knew Tua clapped back at Cam Newton, because Cam had something to say. But honestly, I've never sat down and watched them. I would like to see it. I would like to see Dylan leading the Cleveland Browns versus Tua in the Miami Dolphins. I would like to see it. I don't know what's going to happen. I just would like to see it. It said they were trying to use Sheduer to cancel out the value of high-performing black quarterbacks. Yep, 17-32. Sheduer is going to get all his money. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? You can retaliate against somebody. Like Deshaun Watson asking for a trade, right? He ends up in Cleveland, a team that is not going to let him be a franchise QB. All of these injuries keep happening that never happened to him with the Texans. It says 13 teams wanted you, but we sent you to Cleveland, like we sent RG3 to Cleveland, like we sent Tyrod Taylor, who's suing us, like we sent Sheduer, who the owners took off the board. We sent Deshaun to Cleveland for the same exact reason, which points to retaliation. Is that why he got this money? Because he asked for a trade, and these women did not come forward. They were found. So once again, Deshaun Kaiser, second round pick, expected to be the franchise QB, I think, in the same season that Myles Garrett was drafted number 1 overall. See, they could have got a franchise QB out the first round, but they didn't. They got Deshaun Kaiser. And I think Hugh Jackson was the head coach who already said he was incentivized to lose. And his quarterback went 0-15 before 64,000 fans on average. Tyrod Taylor, who's suing the NFL after being his lung punctured, ends up in Cleveland. Terrell Pryor, who was benched for an undrafted free agent because they said he ran too much, was sent and made to switch positions. He was sent to Cleveland. RG3 was sent to Cleveland after the scandal with all of the congressional investigations. And they had to get a new owner in Washington, sent to Cleveland. And Sheduer Sanders, after the owners took him off the board, sent to Cleveland. So do you see the pattern here about black quarterbacks sent to Cleveland? Do you see it? None of it's good. Yes, they have a revolving door. But when it comes to black quarterbacks, their careers are destroyed. They don't get to go on like Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Kaiser said he was getting worse and worse every week. They left him in there. Haslam was the owner. Now that's what needs to be investigated. If the NFL could already have a bounty gate scandal, you should start looking at these games that the Browns play, especially starting with the Packers that they won at the last minute. And look into, did they really win? Was the game thrown to keep the pressure, to quell the pressure against Cleveland, to switch out quarterbacks to Dillon that they don't want to do? Stefanski confirmed that for you tonight, even though he thought he was being evasive and slick and sarcastic. Greetings, Salafi. How you doing? It's that, remember, this is the same media that told us about COVID. Yeah, I don't watch the regular media. And I definitely don't watch that. Definitely don't watch that. So that was 2020. We don't care about the Browns, boo. We don't either, but we talk about the Browns because that's where Sheduer is. Boo. Thank you for joining us. It said Cleveland owes Deshaun Watson $46 million in each of the next 2 years. Yep. And they were going to draft Sheduer for 40, I think it's 46 million, a number 2 contract, 46, 45. And said, now mind you, when the owner put out the statement, we took a big swing and missed with Deshaun. Understand this. They didn't draft Deshaun as QB1. Nobody told him to pay Deshaun $230 million. Why did they feel the need to pay Deshaun $230 million after that? Because other teams wanted Deshaun, but I need him to go to Cleveland, so I need you to pony up $230 million so we can get him over there by you, and you can stall his career. And eventually he gonna get the message. Yeah, we might have retaliated against you, and you might have held it against us, and we might have gave you this money, but we're not gonna give you what you want, and that's to play football in the NFL and win. How many times have you heard before this season. Deshaun Watson is taking his last snap in NFL. How the hell they know that? That's why he out there showing you he could ball out. Cleveland is what? When it comes for black quarterbacks, what is it? Stefanski will have no choice because Flacco sucks. We're going to see. He seemed confident to me, which means maybe they got some games they're going to win. See, the NFL got to be willing to expose itself as a rigged league. The NFL has to be willing to expose that we're going to help Cleveland because we sent you Sheduer. We're going to help you get this stadium because we gave you Deshaun Watson. $1 million for 600. 600 million. And it's 230 million right in there. Cabot is always in his face. Yep. Did you see the Jacksonville interview where he said he wants to bring swag to the game? They'll lose their minds if Sheduer says that. No, and I didn't hear that, but I'm not surprised. The Artful Dodger. Yep, that's what he is. They are some backwards and Jim Crow stuff. Yeah. It's going to fall back. It sure is. I don't know how on earth we're going to end up to the NFL prediction by AI that Sheduer is going to end up being an MVP with the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know how we're going to get there. And I know it's purely statistical. I know it is. But if we end up there, it's because something's going to blow up. Something going to change. That's what they're not looking at. They're thinking they can control the situation today. We're going to control it for the next. Here's the thing. If you could control the situation, you would have never drafted Sheduer. If you could control the situation, you wouldn't have 16 to 32 black quarterbacks. You can control the moment. You can't control the situation. Understand that. Mary Cabot knows Sheduer's QB1. That's why she's staying in his face now. She has already made subtle statements and comments that Dillard is not a very good QB. Really? I have been watching. Thank you for that, Ladal. I appreciate it. We're going to have to use you to tell us what's going on because I stopped following them. I'm trying to think. Oh, I saw Stefanski's press conference on X. I was wondering, how did I see it? From a Buff fan, I think. See, Buffs are actually the Buff fans that follow Sheduer, whether it was from Trinity, Jackson State, Colorado to the NFL, we still talk about, we don't talk about Cleveland just because we want to talk about the Browns. We talk about Cleveland as it pertains to Sheduer and their culture because it speaks to their motive for holding back Sheduer Sanders, starting with 17 to 32. Can we talk about Hood and Carmani? What you want to say, Darren? You're going to have to tell us. I mean, I said I'm watching Georgia and Florida. I had the wrong week. Gracie said it's Georgia and Alabama this weekend. So let me know what you want to talk about regarding Carmani McClain and Colton Hood? Colton Hood, let me know. We might not get to it this conversation, but just keep hanging out with us and we'll bring it up. Or you can start posting comments in the comments under the videos. Because I think I actually, in one of my recent videos, or maybe it wasn't a video. It was a video or a post. I shout out to Carmani McClain and previously did shout out to Colton Hood. So you got to be consistent with us, Jenny. It said Flacco is the stuntman in the weekend at Bernie's. It said, yeah, Flacco is a good. And they know that. Why else would you pivot from Sheduer, go get Dillard, then go get Flacco? See, Jerry Jeudy got played. That's why they're telling him to be patient. See, he got played. Y'all forced me to share a locker with Flacco, but I can't get the ball right. So it wasn't about the chemistry. It was about the control and the intimidation. That's what it was. That's what it was. I checked Tony Brown. I don't think he had still been picked up yet. I don't think it's going to happen. Flacco is real bad, man. It said, I'll just take Dylan Gabriel at this point. Right. They're going to get all the way. We're going to see if the switch happened at the Miami game. Unless Flacco get hurt. But again, Flacco has $13 million in incentives. So when you went and got Flacco on around April 10th, I think it was, you had already decided to give him 13 million in incentives, which means you needed him to play as long as you need him to play. You had already given Myles Garrett the money, which means you knew the defense was going to do the damn thing to be the heroes. Flacco just out there to block, which means you was never serious about Dylan. Dylan who? Yep. Let's see if his lawyers go say something to them about that. Hey, RD, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We act like New England Patriots were not cheating. That's facts. I didn't watch them. But you're right. You're right. People forget about the Flake Gate. I mean, look at how far it got Tom Brady, right? You're right. And then Bounty Gate. I told y'all there's a channel out here that got all the NFL scandals up there. I talked about the one with Miami and the young black offensive lineman. I forgot his name. I had told y'all about that in another video. That's out there. Bounty Gate is out there. The Flake Gate is out there. Yep. Scandals persist. Flacco will not get his incentives. Offense is trash. I don't know what the hell his incentives is based on. Because if you went and got Dylan first, and then you went and got Flacco, and you had to give him 13 million in incentives because he wasn't coming off his couch for $4 million, maybe your incentives are not tied to your performance, but to the team's, which is why Flacco likes Sheduer. Don't forget Flacco likes Sheduer. Because I told y'all, Flacco knows Sheduer going to get them incentives. So let's see the pressure from within. See, all the pressure is external, but there's pressure from within also. Why do you think it is that they dismissed Tony Brown? Because they want to make an example out of him for gravitating towards Sheduer, which is why Jerry Jeudy never did it. But had he not been sharing a locker with Flacco, maybe he would have. But he knew what that locker meant. He thought it meant chemistry with the QB1 and wide receiver 1. No. It was so you could stay away from Sheduer or experience what Tony Brown has experienced. Even though I'm not going to say they weren't going to do that to him, but I don't know how it is. Luke Gage got all the way to wide receiver 2, and he ended up on the practice squad with Sheduer. Well, he's not on the practice squad, but Sheduer practiced with the scout team. Pressure made that happen. Pressure. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Flacco was trash for his whole year except for like 2 years. I know I saw an article that said Flacco is holding the Baltimore Ravens back. That's what I saw. I saw that. And he hasn't played a full season since when? So again, if I go pivot from Sheduer to Dylan, don't I expect Dylan to be the guy? Then I go get Flacco for $4 million plus incentives, 13 million. See, 13 million in incentives tells me that you knew Flacco was going to always be the guy, which tells you Kenny Pickett was just sucking up reps, which is why he gone. You just needed to move DTR out to make space for Sheduer, which tells you I knew Sheduer was going to be a 5th round pick. When did I move DTR? The date is out there. The same date I moved Pickett in. April. March. It was March. See where this is going? You see where it's going? Yep. It said nobody ever said, let me get that Joe Flacco sports card ever. And Flacco seemed like a cool dude. But don't forget, I think, and I just deleted that photo because I had to make room. Remember the photo when Sheduer was balling out? Must have been the Panthers game. And they had Deshaun looking pensive and Dylan looking defeated and Flacco was smiling. Flacco knows Sheduer going to get them incentives. He know the defense going to do it. He know he going to play up to a certain point. And he know, see, there's no penalty for Flacco showing kindness towards Sheduer. But there's a penalty for Jeudy. There's a penalty for Tony Brown. You see? You see? So the whole Philadelphia trade where Andrew Berry's twin brother works over there, that's how DTR got over there behind, I think he was the 3rd string over there. Yep, behind Jalen Hurts. I don't even think he was QB2. I think he might have been QB3. And then they just released him to the wind. Yep. When it comes to Sheduer, it said that coach is trying to make it through the season, he needs to be fired. But the owner approved it. Right. The owner is responsible for Stefanski being there because, and here's the crazy part. I say it's the owner, but is it? Pat Schumer was the head coach and got fired by Haslam. Haslam fired Pat Schumer. And then somewhere along the lines after that, Stefanski gets the job. Now remember, after Stefanski was somewhere working with Pat Schumer tried to get Stefanski the job in New York. And New York said no, the Giants blocked it. So after Haslam fires Schumer, somehow Schumer's pick for New York becomes the head coach in Cleveland. You see the connection? You see the connection? Hey Turner, how you doing? How you doing? It said we see right through Stefanski, and he's not fooling us, right? They playing chess. Who playing chess? No, I don't think they playing chess. See, I said this yesterday. I said half of Cleveland fan base want to win, and the other half, the 64,000 that kept showing up, know exactly what the hell is going on. How does 64,000 people on average show up to watch Deshaun Kaiser go 0-15 in the same time period that Hugh Jackson is incentivized to lose games? You can't sit up here and think these games are on the up and up when it's two head coaches, one involved in a class action lawsuit with other head coaches, saying he was incentivized to lose by Miami, went on to have a winning season, Brian Flores, and Miami fired him after a winning season because they incentivized him to lose. That's in court right now. That's a huge case, in my opinion. We're going to see what happened to it. Emmanuel Acho is first generation American scammer. Oh, you say he a scammer? It's that Dylan should be playing because he's labeled QB2. Right. Dylan Gabriel is Kevin's boy. It said Kevin was seen taking him to prestigious golf courses. That sounds, hey, spiritual war, how you doing? Ghost Vanessa, how you doing? Based on people you've met in my life since Dylan Gabriel, there are some of the chillest people I've known. Gabriel is just happy to be there. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I think Gabriel has the same mentality as Emmanuel Acho. We just happy to be in the room. Thank you for the t-shirt. We don't want nothing. We're not going to ask for nothing. We just happy to be here. And Acho gets used like a pawn all the time. So, and I like him, but it's true, right? Imagine a family reunion and you got that one cousin. Everybody went to the HBCUs and they did not, and they didn't hang out at the Baptist Student Union at the PWIs. So it's not like they went there because if something in particular to the university, they just didn't want to go to the HBCUs. They didn't even hang out with the black people at the PWIs, and it's a lot of like Ohio State. Whoo, it's a lot, right? U of H in Houston, yep, it's a lot. So he didn't even go to the PWI and hang out with his own people. It's that one cousin that always shows up to the reunion, and you just know it's gonna be a conversation where they just hate on everything. Black excellence. They just gonna hate on it all. Like Acho, but that's who he is. And I know why he's like that, but we're not gonna get into that. What team y'all want Sheduer to start against? We had that conversation. I think you say want like a preference, CJ. A preference. I don't have a preference. I just want him to be treated fairly. So y'all can answer the question. I think a lot of us said that they thought he was gonna start around week 9. Some said the Jets. It said, I saw a video that essentially said the GM has been wanting to fire Stefanski for a while now, since 2023. He has not given his requested players to succeed. It said the goal is to build around Sheduer. I believe the part about he's not giving his requested the players that he drafts. See, here's what y'all have to look at. Haslam hired both of them. Okay. And we already know Stefanski tried to prove that Sheduer doesn't belong. This is the most important position on the team. If I hear that one more time, right? So if I feel that way about Sheduer as a quarterback, why would I not feel that way about Andrew Berry as the GM, which is an executive over me? So I'm going to do what the hell it is I want to do. So when Haslam did his little press conference, he said Andrew Berry chooses the players, which is a lie. Haslam chooses the player, the quarterback. Who did Andrew Berry? Who was Andrew Berry at the Ohio State game with? Okay. Haslam said, "Go get me that guy," and Deshaun Watson too, not just the Manning kid. So Haslam said Andrew Berry selects the players. He's the GM, and Stefanski chooses who to play. Haslam is just a puppeteer, and Stefanski and Berry are his pawns to do his bidding. Berry seemingly seems in control, but he's not. Not when it comes to the quarterback position at all. And if so, they let him think that, and they pulled the towel from underneath him 90% of the way through the process. But the way I've seen Berry talk about Sheduer in his interviews that we just shared recently, he distanced himself from him. And I know why he did that. Because sometimes when you're the only chip in the cookie, you don't want white people to think that you're going to be on the side of the other black people and y'all going to get together and work together. You want the white people to think you're on their side and you're going to do whatever they want you to do. That you're not going to have your familiarity and your blackness to be a part of your decision-making ability. If the goal is to make sure the majority of the skilled players are white, what am I going to draft high? What just happened in this draft? Right? Who was the number 2? Who was the first pick for the Browns? Who was one of the only second-round picks to have a guaranteed contract? I'll tell you 2 of them. One played for the Browns and the other played for the Texans, which is the teams involved in Deshaun Watson trade. There are no coincidences here. This is way deeper than you think. It said no media trolling. Little Dollar General is called QB. So is what? It said no media trolling. Little Dollar General so-called QB2. Do they even talk about him? It's funny because they either saying Flacco not good or Sheduer should start, but I don't never hear no conversation about Dylan. I don't even hear people advocating for him to start, except for the Browns fans who sick of Flacco. But again, after they won, I think some of them were so happy they don't care about it. Some of them understand that you need a good quarterback in there, so they want to get a good quarterback. That's when you hear Dylan's name. From the fans, they don't care if it's Sheduer or Dylan. They just want somebody else other than Flacco. But they don't know what they have in Sheduer. Or maybe they do, and they know the team is not treating him right, and they're not going to, so they're not going to waste their breath pushing for somebody that the team is against. So let's play this video here that I have. Let's see. Do I still have it? Yep, I still have it. So I'm getting ready to share this video. Y'all know I love the show Speak Easy. I was a big avid fan of the facility. I told y'all why they went off the air. I'm glad these 2 brothers came back. Again, I like Emmanuel Acho. He said it. People say I'm the hater. I think he knows that that's the role he plays for business. I don't know what he do in his personal life, but he needs to stop. Anyway, it works for him and Shady. So let's take a look at this clip about Sheduer and whether he should start and this, that, and the other. And y'all know Shady. I feel like I like Shady because he's going to tell the truth. That's why I think a lot of people like Shady McCoy. All right. Here it is. All right. All right. Make sure y'all can see my screen. All right. Shout out to the brothers over at Speak Easy who came from the facility. I'm glad y'all are doing your own thing. All right. Making sure y'all can see. All right.
On Twitter, they say I'm a hater. So I'm going to shut up and let 2-5 speak and I'm going to respond.
Wow. Yo, first of all, we don't have to look at the whole entire league to see bad quarterback play. We can start with his team. I watched the Browns get a big win against the Green Bay Packers. Didn't they? Boy, the offense, I'm lying. The defense looked good. Joe Flacco, I'm trying to figure out how the hell is he still playing? He must have something on the head coach. He must know some dirt. Because I watched that game. He had 142 yards, no touchdowns. We had him pick. He don't give you that pick. I watched the whole game. The defense saved them, and so did special teams. And the Packers saved them because the Packers did bad for them to do good. All I'm saying is, you don't got to look around the league to see bad quarterback play. You see bad quarterback play every single day at practice, I'm sure. Bad quarterback play every Sunday when you see Joe Flacco take the field. Bad quarterback play when you're watching the film. So we don't need to look around the league. We can stay right here in Cleveland.
All right. So, Acho starts off by saying he's a hater. See, that's the role he plays, right? That's the role he has accepted. But again, see, it's different now because they're debating head to head. They're debating each other. On the facility, it was just nauseating, right? Because you had James, who seemed fair and balanced. They see somewhere on another show, they might as well get James over there with them. And then you have Shady and Emmanuel Acho. I'm so happy they teamed up, right? Because I like to hear from the players, right? And Emmanuel Acho is just the opposition, the voice of dissent to make the ratings better. But he don't understand personally. Well, maybe he does. He just don't care. Maybe when he look at his paycheck, he's okay with being the voice of dissension, even when it nauseates the hell out of people because he's not being genuine. He's being disingenuous with his takes and hurtful against people that we know are being treated unfairly, like Sheduer, right? So that was, I hope y'all watch Speakeasy. Again, I love to hear from the players, so I hope y'all do too. It said, can't stand Acho, he's a hater. And he started off saying that. That is hilarious. It said, see, you got some surprises at running back this week. Okay, all right, good. I know we got 2 of them that are out. We'll be live tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Darren. If you want to join us, we have a virtual watch party. And we talked about Colorado yesterday too. So don't forget, if you want to hang out with us on Colorado Talk, we'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the entire game. If the weather's nice, it's been raining here in Atlanta. We'll be outside if the weather's nice. All right. So join us at 10 o'clock tomorrow, y'all. It said CJ wants Dylan to play. Right. Hell, I want Dylan to play right now, too. It said Dylan Gabriel was hired as a favor for a friend. Hey, Lily, it sure seems like it. Emmanuel Acho. It said, I want to see Dylan Gabriel, the guy that is better than Sheduer. Right. And now here's the thing. Dylan gets out there and look terrible. They can't rig the games to prop Dylan up, but I can't get a team that can afford to lose 1 or 2 or 1. Are the Lions undefeated? Because it's not going to be them. Then again, maybe it could be. I don't know. I would want to mess up my winning streak to give the Browns anything, but it's not up to the players. It's up to the owners. And that's where these kind of calls come from. So really and truly, Stefanski is doing Haslam's bidding, and Andrew Berry is the melanin in the room so that Cleveland won't appear racist, which is why when it comes to the most important quarterback position, who's out there making a decision? Haslam. So that tells you Andrew Berry is just a pawn, the melanin, a token in the room. That's it. So they can say we're not racist. Why? They have 9 black GMs, but 0 black offensive coordinator, and are currently fighting tooth and nail not to have 17 of 32 black starting quarterbacks. So do I really respect the black GMs? No. I'm going to tell you what to do, and you are the melanin in the room. If I respected black people as coaches and head coaches, how many times has Mike Tomlin won Coach of the Year award? Would I have really publicly embarrassed Mike Tomlin at the draft by telling him who not to draft? If I respected Andrew Berry, would Andrew Berry and Mike Tomlin have been the only 2 black people in the draft told what to do and what not to do? No. There would be more than 6 or 4 black head coaches. They relieved 2 of their duties before the season. So it went from 6 to 4. Then I'm going to go from 4 to 2. Then I'm going to be at 2 black head coaches, probably 10 GMs that I can control and keep. That's not a customer-facing position. The GM is not a public-facing position. GMs get told what to do. The owners have to approve the GM decision. Imagine working all night on a plan to draft players like Sheduer at quarterback. And then you got all these other black players based on talent. And they like, no, we don't need that. Go ahead and give me somebody else. Or then people are coming to the owner and saying, hey, can you get my nephew in there? And the GM is like, but he's not talented. He ain't gonna say that out loud. The GMs are pawns. And they make a lot of money to shut up and keep the secrets about how they truly acquire players and why they acquire certain players and why they don't acquire certain players, starting with the quarterback position. And that's who Andrew Berry is. He knows. It said, oh, Dylan might play in the fourth quarter this Sunday. Okay, CJ, I'm going to put a star by this. Dylan Gabriel should be starting this game. If Russell Wilson could be benched, Flacco has proven he should be benched. So we're going to look and see what you say. I put a star by it. That way we'll come back to it. It said, Dylan pick 6 is a welfare hire, paid to sit on the bench. Okay, I can see that. Dylan played 2 weeks ago. He had a touchdown. Okay. You're not talking about the end of that game. Again, you're not talking about the end of that game, are you? It said, CJ, he needs to play a full game, not trash time that don't count. CJ, are you just happy to have him out there? Kevin threw Gabriel in the game as soon as he saw the Ravens sit their starters. I told you it was something. I told you it's going to always be something, which is why whoever, CJ, if you watching the Lions, you're going to need to be on the up and up and come back here and tell us the Lions versus the Browns, what really happened. Like the real head-to-head matchup, not when the Ravens sit their starters. And I told y'all they was not going to put Dylan out there till Quinshon Judkins came back. And y'all know Quinshon Judkins has scooted his way all the way to first string. And they still won't put Dylan out there. If they don't put Dylan out there with Quinshon Judkins, $13 million in incentives was always the plan. It just proves a lot. We'll come back to this conversation. It said that touchdown don't count. It was 40-0 Ravens, right? It said the Manning boy going to the Giants. Now he going to the Browns, I think. I think he going to the Browns. I think the Manning kid going to the Browns, which is why Haslam had no problem showing up with Andrew Berry in tow. I wouldn't have been out there. I'd have been like, I got something to do. My kid got ballet or something, because you only drag me out there so you can prove to people who's really making the choices. You want to get the Manning kid because you have the number 1 pick. This season means absolutely nothing to the team overall because they got the number 1 pick next year. They don't need to tank. They don't need to tank. They could put Dylan out there if Sheduer wasn't over there. But they're not going to put Dylan out there, which tells Dylan, and he might not even want to get out there. Maybe that's why they got him. Somebody that knows, like Acho, I'm just happy to be in the room. Thank you for the t-shirt. We're going to see. The Lions game going to say some things for sure. He'll definitely start against Miami. He should. He definitely should. The pre-draft initiative from the very start, very onset, was to sabotage Sheduer, a premeditated strategic move. Stefanski guilty of collusion and corruption. Yeah, I think so. See, somebody else now I want to see Dylan play. I told you, just put him on out there. See, nobody was saying, we said Dylan wasn't good. You know, he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. And CJ just reminded us that he made that touchdown at the end. And somebody else reminded us that they had set Baltimore starters and put Dylan in. So that's when he going to play versus the Lions. Because I still don't know how they truly beat Green Bay. I know the defense had a lot to do with it. But the defense was playing all day, all game. And it didn't happen to the end. So I don't know. Maybe they switched their roster up and somebody was just hungry. But we're going to see, because you can't do the same thing every week. Can't cheat the same way all the time. Ask cheaters. That's how they get caught. All right. I guess we're going to get ready to get out of here. How long have we been in here? Hour and 31 minutes. Okay, that's good. All right. So don't forget, guys, this was an excellent conversation. Shout out to Kane Bishop in the comments. This was I knew this would be a good conversation piece. So I'm gonna read it one more time if you're just not joining us, how we got on the conversation of Stefanski and the Browns. It said, I have a theory about the coaching situation in Cleveland. I honestly believe that Dylan Gabriel must not be ready or consistently making mistakes in practice, which is why they are reluctant to turn to him. It said, I know Sheduer is ready, but they are not going to jump him to the front, right? Exposing themselves with the truth that Sheduer was already better than Dylan. Says Sheduer should have never been in a competition with those lesser QBs, just a theory. I wish he was on a team that wanted him and appreciated him. Right. And here's the thing. I couldn't even tell you what team that was because 32 owners passed on Sheduer how many times? All right. So I wish the same for him. I wish he was in a league. That's what you should be saying now. I wish Sheduer was in a league that wanted him and appreciated him as an elite, talented Black QB1. That's really what should be said. All right, we're going to get out of here, everybody. Thank y'all so much. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all know 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What she said, sports will be live virtually. It's a virtual watch party. So we'll see y'all at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Thank you. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.